So at this point, we've already shown a slide of how to get the angles and how to get the radians. Now we're going to kind of combine them. So remember that when you start it's at 0 degrees and when you end it's at 360. And then it's 30, 45, 60, 90, 120, 135, 150, 180, 210, 225, 240, 270, 300, 315, 330. So there's more to the unit circle than just angles and radians and degrees, okay? There's more to the unit circle than just all of your angles in either radian or degree form. We're actually going to be using the unit circle once we get into higher level courses, but right now we're going to do the introduction. There's actually coordinates, and you can kind of see that I tried to white those out a little bit. There are coordinates associated with each one of these. So we kind of talked about that at the beginning. This coordinate, remember, it's all one unit, up and down, back and forth. So this coordinate is always going to be 1, 0 because you go to the right one, 0, 1 because you go up 1, negative 1, 0 because you went left 1, 0, negative 1 because you went down 1. Okay. Now the coordinates, how we came up with these coordinates is all based on geometry, 30, 60, 90 degree triangles, and 45, 45, 90 degrees triangles. And if you want to learn a little bit more about that, you can come after school one day and I'll teach you those from geometry. We used to teach it in geometry, then we took it out. Next couple of years we're bringing it back in. But for the main sake here, all the coordinates that go with all these 3 dots that are in between these straight up and down segments, they all have the same 3 coordinates. There's a square root of 2 over 2, there's square root of 3 over 2, and then there's a 1/2. And it's not like you have to memorize them. There's actually a video I can show you that you're going to use your hand. I'm going to talk about it in class. That's going to help you remember those. Easiest way to remember this is that the split right down the middle, the 45, 45 multiples, are always the square root of 2 over 2. They're always the same thing. Okay, remember this is the one that's at 45 degrees. Okay? So then what you do is you take what you know and you reflect it over. Well, over here, this is a reflection of that one. But because I went left, it's going to be negative square root of 2 over 2. And you still are above the axis, so that makes this a positive square root of 2 over 2. Okay, now if I reflect this over, I'm going to end up down here. See these lines showing the reflection here? I went left from the origin. That makes the first number a negative. And then you went down below the axis, so it's a negative. Then if I reflect this over, and actually reflect this first one down, or I could reflect this one over, it doesn't matter. But I went to the right of the axis, and then you went down underneath the x-axis. So you don't have to memorize all these coordinates. All you have to know is this first coordinate. Okay. Now this coordinate, again, I'm going to show you in class how to memorize these, or work with them so you don't have to memorize them. But this first one is going to be square root of 3 over 2, and then 1/2. And we're going to do that whole reflecting thing. So now I'm going to reflect this over. It's going to become this one. That makes this negative square root of 3 over 2 because I went left, positive because I went up. Okay, reflect this over. Comes this point. Notice I went left, and then I went down. And then reflect this over. Positive to the right. Negative, I went down. Alright, this coordinate is the reverse of this coordinate here. So it's 1/2 first, square root of 3 over 2 second. So then reflect that over. Negative 1/2 because I went left, but still positive square root of 3 over 2. Okay, reflect this down. I'll get negative 1/2 because I went left, and then negative square root of 3 over 2 because I went down. Reflect this over here, and again I could have reflected the top green one. I'm going to go to the right of the axis, so that first number has to be a positive. But I went downward, so that second number has to be a negative. So then what we're going to do is we're going to kind of combine all these coordinates with the angles in degrees and in radians, and that comprises of the whole unit circle. So here's a partial unit circle that was already done for you. So what do we have to add in here? we still have to add in our radians, right? Okay, so this is the unit circle. But you got to know what to do with the unit circle. Just making it's not going to be good enough. What are you going to do with all of these? That comes next.